We got Daredevil Born Again episode 9 finale.
Video, there are a bunch of Easter eggs and references.
Check it out.
Resist. Rebel.
They were
Rebuild,
cooking.
because we are the city.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my
Punisher
full
crashed
Daredevil Born
out.
Again episode 9 finale video. There are a bunch of Easter eggs and references. Obviously, a big post-credit scene. There are a couple clear moments that they use at the end of the episode to set up what's going to be happening in season 2, and that Punisher presentation, the Punisher movie that they're also going to be doing next year. So, really good news is we will get episodes
Ain't
for
nobody
season 2
keeping
and the
Punisher
special presentation
for too long.
both next year.
Not
Now
held
all we gotta do
hostage.
is tell us when they're bringing back the rest of the Defenders characters and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos, because they're in the middle of filming season 2 right now. Based on what we see, I'll start doing more bonus videos on that soon. But the episode title was Straight to Hell, a reference to Daredevil almost dying and being born again, metaphorically at the end of the episode, like coming back as a new kind of Daredevil heading forward. And Straight to Hell as in Hell's Kitchen, because he literally goes back to Hell's Kitchen. They end the episode with him in Josie's bar talking to the new Team Daredevil.
Trying to
Basically,
recruit
all
the
people
team.
who would be helping him out, at least the start
Got
of
a few
season
cops
2.
in
There'll
there,
be
I
a
think.
lot more, because he did say to Karen, we need an army, meaning that he needs to put together a new Defender squad.
You gotta get
There's a
the
pretty
other
strong chance that
vigilantes.
some of the classic Defenders from
You
the
gotta
Netflix
get
series
Spider-Man,
like Jessica
bruh.
Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, even
Spider-Man
could
would
come
be
back during
insane.
season 2. Jessica Jones, I think, is a lock. We will see about Luke Cage and Iron Fist, though. There are a number of people who could also be on that vigilante team, because Swordmaster showed up at the end of the episode in Fisk's underground
I didn't even
cells
see
in his
him,
torture
but
basement. But obviously
I
this episode is
guess.
important for a number of big reasons. Like, not only was it the finale, so they had to tie up a whole bunch of storylines and set up season 2 and this Punisher special presentation, but John Bernthal came back in a big way as the Punisher in full Punisher form,
And
wearing
crashing
the Punisher
out
suit,
for
got a
him.
nice fresh shave. There were all kinds of jokes about that during the episode. Loved all the witty banter between Matt and Punisher. They both made fun of each other's superhero suits and of their little love triangle that they have going on with Karen Page. For all you
They
Karen
both
Page
wonder.
and Punisher fans, there were a whole bunch of great scenes that they had together during the Punisher series. There were a couple of moments during this episode that felt like they were trying to give vibes of those classic scenes. Generally, the episode felt like a real solid ending, like a real solid landing and a good
Yep.
setup for season 2. So I definitely think the show now is in good hands in terms of creative territory for what we're going to be doing during season 2. Because remember, it was the old creative team that Kevin Feige fired that did episodes 2 through 7, and the new creative team that Kevin Feige brought on to basically fix the show that did episodes
They
1,
cooked.
8, and 9, basically, and they're doing all of season 2. And most of them are from the original Daredevil Netflix series, the Punisher Netflix series, basically people that worked on the original Netflix shows, which Kevin Feige should have just hired in the first place to do the shows. Of course, it makes sense to bring back the people who made the great shows that everybody loves so much. But then they open on
Yeah.
Bullseye in full
Why
blue
change it
mode,
if it's
still
not
at
broken?
the party, attacking Kingpin, looking through his scope. When it turns blue, you're meant to be in Bullseye's perspective when he's locked in on someone. Then we flash
He gonna
back
have
to
to
a year
join
ago
with,
before he tried to kill Foggy
Daredevil.
to explain those events and how he wound up working for Vanessa, how he wound up taking that contract. Love the creative use of the transition too, with him looking at them through the scope, then them showing the deer on the wall as if he is now, like Bullseye is the deer that's being caught in someone else's scope, and it's Vanessa that's zeroed in on him. And it's basically Vanessa doing what Kingpin did to
You gotta go
Bullseye
after
during
both of
season
them.
3, manipulating him, basically taking his broken mental state. Kingpin is technically the person who broke his mind in the first place.
You had me tailed for a few days. You think you know me?
So Vanessa just kind of swoops in Kingpin's absence because she's become Queenpin, taking over the criminal empire, and is doing what he did, also using Bullseye, twisting it, manipulating him into killing Foggy to get rid of that court case. She references more of the events of Daredevil Season 3 on Netflix with the FBI corruption subplot. Agent Nadeem, who was working with Kingpin, she explains is the reason why Kingpin avoided jail time. There were so many questions about this when they brought Kingpin back during the events of Hawkeye and then the Echo series, because during the Echo series, they actually flash back to that 5-year time jump after Thanos' snap. Kingpin was
might
walking around in broad daylight past the cops like it was
Echo
no
to
big
the
deal,
team,
and
too.
he should have been in prison because of the
Defenders.
timeline of Daredevil Season 3 and when he initially got arrested at the end of that series. Everybody was like, what did he do? How did he get out of prison? Well, it turns out they pinned everything that happened during season 3, like all the illegal stuff, on Agent Nadeem, and that's what Fisk used to get out. Vanessa says that they
Shake
basically
my
used this
head.
to acquit Bullseye of anything that he did during season 3. Like, he did a lot of really bad stuff. There's a couple references to him
Killing
still
just for
hating
fun.
Fisk, like he still wants to get him, which basically connects to him trying to kill him at the party recently in present day. You do notice that he is hopped up on all kinds of medications, which Vanessa takes from him so that his mind will clear and he'll be able to kill Foggy. Basically, the idea is that Vanessa is helping get him acquitted of his role in the events of Daredevil Season 3 in exchange for him killing Foggy. Then they jump back to the events of episode 8 with him trying to kill Kingpin, Matt inadvertently saving him by jumping into the path of the bullet. Then they jump forward
I
a
don't
little
know
bit, like
why
it's
he
that
be trying to
next
save
morning
everyone.
right after that with Matt in the hospital
He need to
recovering.
be like
Heather
Punisher
still has her bloody
and
gown on, so like
punish.
it's just the next morning. Not much time has gone by. Kingpin on his side of things too is also still covered in blood. Couple funny moments going on here in the hospital room where he calls her Karen Page. Like, Karen, is that you?
I know
And
she got
absolutely
mad.
hates that. She does not like that at all. But
Yeah,
notice
that's
how
funny.
Kirsten kind of laughs under her breath, like, oh, it's the medication. That's why he can't tell who it is. And you can kind of tell this is just a continuation of their vibes during episode 8, but she just absolutely feels Team Kingpin all the
Yeah,
way.
she
will not
joins
believe
them.
anything that Matt is saying about his role in any of this or the fact that Vanessa was connected to Foggy's murder. You're talking crazy. No. Fisk is the good person. Basically setting up her arc at the end of the episode where she fully joins Team
That's gonna be
Kingpin as
interesting.
part of his actual cabinet. Was not a fan of the Heather Glenn storyline at all this season, but now I just absolutely hate the character. Like, I would be totally fine if she dies during season 2. We also find out that Bullseye got away. We don't see him for the rest of the episode till like the montage at the very end where they sort of touch on everybody before the events of season 2. He's in a safe house, it looks like, just hiding out with that broken glass, just basically waiting for the events of season 2. So he'll be back. Back at the mayor's mansion, Kingpin says
They need
he
to
already
bring Muse
knows
back,
what
Loki.
Vanessa did hiring Bullseye to kill Foggy. He doesn't mind, but he understands that that's why all this just happened recently. Then he tells Vanessa that he has much grander plans and they're way more powerful because
They're trying to
basically
get that
as
money.
Kingpin in the office of
That
mayor,
drug
they can
money.
do whatever they want. They can move billions now through this Red Hook port. They wind up using the rest of the episode to slowly explain what his grand plan is for the port and why it's so ingenious. Basically, the way the charter in Red Hook was written, the way that Red Hook just exists, renders anything that happens there immune from the law, technically. So the idea is that Foggy learned about this, learned what Vanessa was doing, and how Kingpin was basically making most of his money, laundering all this money. Vanessa didn't want him figuring out a
couldn't do
way
nothing
to
about
stop
it.
that or slow that. And now Kingpin is saying that by beefing up the port with his new project and basically controlling the law in New York City, there's absolutely nothing to stop them from moving billions of dollars through the port. Means billions of dollars into his pocket, essentially. Like, he is fully Mayor Kingpin now, if he wasn't before. And I've talked about this in previous episode videos, but the commissioner also mentions it during the episode too, that he never stopped being Kingpin. He just said that he wanted to be a good mayor, when in reality, that probably
Or
wasn't
that was
true.
from the start.
You notice he's in his classic white again the next day, yelling at his anti-vigilante task force, the Punisher cops, telling them to step it up, clear out every vigilante in the city, heroes alike, doing anything it takes, no questions asked. And the next big step is him basically declaring martial law in the city, shutting down the bridges and tunnels, basically turning Manhattan into a police state. He tells Buck to try and kill Matt Murdock while he's still in the hospital so that
They
they
try
can
to
spin
get
it as
him,
if
bruh.
Matt sacrificed himself to save the mayor, and it'll help win the mayor, Kingpin, more support from the general public. He winds up compelling Sheila closer to his cause, basically telling her to get rid of anybody who's not fully on Team
Matt
Kingpin.
was
Going into
prepared.
season 2, that means. This is also to
He
set
knew
up
what
him
was up.
killing the commissioner later in the episode too.
That was
And
crazy.
the whole reason why he has the Con Ed guy there, that's basically the company that controls the utilities in New York City, is so that he can turn the power off and use that to help justify what he's doing, pushing New York into this police state in season 2. So the whole idea, though, is that he controls every aspect of New York City from top to bottom now. He controls all the crime families, like he's still Kingpin, but also now he controls all the politics. He controls the police, he controls the judges, the court system,
I mean,
the
he
rich
kind of
people,
did
literally everything,
have
every
that
aspect
already
of society in New York City.
for the most
This is
part.
also important for the end of the episode, too, where Daredevil almost tries to rush into the port to get Kingpin, and Karen
Dude
has to
got
tell him,
cooked too.
no, we have to be smart about this. He is untouchable right now. Not only are you wounded, so you couldn't beat him in a one-on-one fight physically, but also you couldn't defeat him as lawyer Matt Murdock with a case because the way that Red Hook exists, the way the Charter exists, he's immune to a lot of the stuff that's happening here. Like, you can't prosecute him for what's happening here. Karen Page telling Daredevil to fight smarter, not harder. Then we see Matt hearing Buck
You
coming,
gotta wait
knowing
for the big
exactly what's
fight.
up, and tries to use the chaos of them turning the power off to kill Matt unsuccessfully. Then I love this Punisher reunion scene with him going back to his apartment
Yeah, that
and
was
finding
funny.
Punisher waiting for him there because Karen Page had already come back and asked him to save Matt, like bring Matt to safety. Love the way they immediately start bantering with each other like an old married couple. When he makes fun of the gown, saying, "Is this your new costume, nightgown man?" It's also to reference to the new 4 suits that he has upstairs in the shed on the roof, which one he puts on. He puts the red one on when they come back and they start fighting the Punisher cops. He also already knew that they were outside waiting to rush in and capture Matt. The idea was, if they captured him, they would have either killed him or thrown him in one of those
They would've
cells too,
killed
like
him
they
for
did with
sure.
Punisher later in the episode. When Frank asks him, why would you save Kingpin's life? He doesn't immediately have an answer for him, but I think the idea, like the real reason he saved him, is because he still believes in justice, ultimately, like the right kind of justice, so he wants to take Kingpin down the right way, as he sees it.
And then he's
Make
gonna
all the
get
blind
right
guy
back out
jokes
of
you want,
jail,
like the way
bro.
he sees justice. They use a
That
lot of
shit
their
don't work
team-up
with him.
scenes where they're fighting the Punisher cops to juxtapose their different philosophies because Frank just absolutely mows through all of them, tries to kill every single one of them, and Daredevil has to stop him a couple times. Like, no, stop killing people.
Do it right.
Punisher then jokes about him getting into proper attire, like put your costume on, as he rushes off to the rooftop to put one on. Those dirty cops roll in, notice they're all wearing the Punisher logo on their body armor, and Matt busts in through the skylight because all of his suits were on the rooftop, so he just busts down through the skylight. Punisher was outside hiding on the balcony, so he busts in that way, and they basically just mow through all of them. They also use this scene to connect Cole North to the murder of White Tiger. I talked about this in previous episodes because we
Frank
actually got
went
some
off,
footage of them
bruh.
from behind the scenes, so early on I thought that Cole North was going to be the person to have killed White Tiger. They wind up using the Punisher logo bullets to connect him to it. Even though a grenade goes off in his apartment, we don't actually see Cole North die, so I wouldn't be surprised if he also comes back during season 2, looking all gruesome,
Maybe.
looking Jigsaw-like. Make all the Punisher references you want. It kind of seemed like Frank enjoyed taking out all these dirty cops too.
He needed
like he
that
was
shit.
smiling when he was doing it. There are a couple of flashback scenes during this too, where Punisher
said, "It's
tries to
been a
get
minute."
Daredevil to actually kill Cole North. Like, do it, just go ahead and do it, get rid of him. They use these mostly
And
to
they
show you
keep
his
coming
personal
back if you
growth,
don't,
like
bruh.
him trying to kill Bullseye to now fully coming around, like he's arced around and he's able to be Daredevil without fully giving in to those instincts. Then the fight with them diving out the window together, Butch Cassidy in Sundance Kid style to avoid the grenade, and they're met outside by Karen Page, who drives them back to Punisher's lair, and she explains how she returned and
I
like
was
she's the
excited to
reason
see
why
her back,
Punisher's
bro.
here in
I was
the
like,
first place.
finally.
There are a lot of jokes and references they make here to the weird love triangle situation they have going, like a couple lines of dialogue too that kind of imply where Karen is leaning. Like, she just seems like she's a little more into Matt right now, but they're not going to get back together anytime soon or anything like that. Like, they just tease the chemistry between the two of them. But for all you fans of Punisher and Karen Page together, they do give you like a little bit to snack on, like a couple moments of them together, a little bit of vibes of the classic
Ain't
Punisher
gonna get
series.
nothing, bro.
She basically explains that over in California,
She's
she
gonna
heard the news
get
that
back with
Bullseye
Matt
had escaped from
Murdock.
prison and immediately called Frank, asking him to help Matt and jumped a plane to come back. Matt then tells both of them how Vanessa was behind Foggy's death, and when they go their separate ways, Punisher saying he has his own stuff to do, he's basically talking about dealing with the Punisher cops finally, the fanboys as he calls them. Then we go to City Hall with Daniel Blake
That
and
shit was
Buck
tough
trying
when
to
he
get
did it.
all of them on board with Kingpin's new orders and basically implies that they're going to be doing to them what they just did to the rich people at the party, pulling them into the principal's office, so to speak, so the Kingpin can blackmail them into line. One of the funny moments, some
Either
of you
you
probably picked
join
up on
or
this too, is that when Daniel Blake talks
get
about them
got.
illegally benefiting financially from their positions, this is actually a reference to a lot of members in real life Congress who actually
No
benefit
cap.
from insider trading, like financial information that they gain wind of because of their positions inside Congress. This actually happens in real life and it's not
Oh yeah, we
illegal.
know.
That's why there's such a push to try and make it illegal for members of Congress to trade stocks or anything like that. It
Yeah.
is shady as hell, and it has been a thing since Congress initially came
They
into
shouldn't even be
existence.
able to do it,
So
to
even
be
though what
honest.
Kingpin is doing here, trying to blackmail the city council and all these other people in the city, the idea is that a lot of the politicians are just as dirty as Kingpin, just in a slightly different way. We get a
Mm.
couple BB reports during the episode, but they're like super quick, blink and you'll almost miss them. Basically just showing you the chaos of the episode and what happens after, like the way the city's dealing with things after. We see the cops start shooting people left and right in the streets, looters, lying about what happened to blame it on vigilantes. This
Bro,
is
that
also
was
meant to be a
crazy.
reference, I
He was
think, to
like,
real life and a lot of the riots
that's
that
not a
went down a
kid.
couple
That's a
years
mass
ago.
vigilante.
Matt and Karen go to Foggy's secret storage locker and find the evidence that he was going to use on Red Hook to win the case against Vanessa. They joke a little bit about her friendship with Punisher. Matt gets a little bit jealous.
You talked to Frank a lot?
They make an avocados at law joke, which is a big callback to the ending from Daredevil Season 1 on Netflix.
Avocado
And I already
Bros.
explained basically the twist behind Red Hook, the way that it renders anything that happens there immune from the law in New York, just in general. So Kingpin is going to use it as his own little personal estate to do whatever he wants, launder billions of dollars into his pocket. Then we see Punisher going after another group of those dirty cops who call him out like he's their hero, like they call him by his first name, Frank. He rips through them like wet tissue paper. They get a couple shotgun blasts off on him, capture him, and then hold him in front of the rest of the surviving ones. They basically use the Punisher scenes here with him facing the Punisher cops telling them off, juxtaposed with the Commissioner being killed by Kingpin brutally.
That was
Sheila winds up
insane,
selling
bro.
him out, and then he figures out immediately what's
Broke
going
his
on when he
jaw
sees the
and
Punisher
his face.
tattoo on the new driver. Like, oh, this is definitely not going to end well for me. They use the Punisher
hoe
part
for
of the
that.
scene where he's talking to the dirty cops for him to re-explain to the audience, like general audience members, who the Punisher is, what he stands for, his own personal, basically just explaining Punisher.
Bro, he gained
Also-
so much aura by just going in there by himself with like a 20v1.
Telling them off in the
Shit.
most hardcore way possible, basically telling them all that they
And
suck.
he took a
while
couple of them
Kingpin
down too.
brutally kills the Commissioner, and I think that they're trying to make this takedown feel like Kingpin killing the Russian during Daredevil Netflix season 1. But even though it
Yeah.
is really grisly, and they did change this for the trailers,
I'm
to make his
surprised they
hands
left
look
it
like
on
they were covered
Disney.
in black goo, not red blood. I still feel like the takedown of the Russian goes a little bit harder, even though this takedown of the Commissioner is a little more graphic. But the whole idea
Yeah.
here is that after the Punisher cops beat up Frank even more, they throw him in one of Kingpin's cells in his underground torture basement. That's meant to set up what's going on during the post-credit scene. We see him a couple more times in the episode in those cells. All the other people that he's been keeping in those cells are the people that he plans to either blackmail or just keep
Horseman.
disappeared, like the mystery rich husband that the woman couldn't find. Like, have you seen my husband? I can't find him anywhere. Because he's been in one of Kingpin's cells. Matt and Karen then come to the port in Red Hook. Karen, like I said, convinces Matt to fight smarter, not harder, because he couldn't fight even if he wanted to, like he's still so hard up from the wound, and also because Kingpin controls the law from every side, the police, the courts, everything top to bottom.
There's
He'll
no
have
way to
find
get
a
him right
smarter way
now.
to fight him than he normally would have. Which is why he says they'll need an army. We'll need a bunch of defenders, quote unquote.
There's
to
only
help
one way to
defend our
get him
city.
now, bro.
We get a brief time jump to a couple days later, it seems like,
Yeah,
and Heather
he's not
Glenn is
gonna
now
like
fully
it.
Team Kingpin, joining his cabinet. They kind of implied she was leaning that direction earlier in the episode and previous episodes, so she is like fully part of his office now. We will see what happens to her in season 2. I would be totally fine if they kill her off. Maybe this also means we'll have some
Brody
more
was
weird
her
therapy
guy.
sessions with them in season 2, but I'm not a big fan of those either, so we can just brush past that. We get the other BB report, this time mostly about Fisk's next moves in the city, like what the state of the general city is the morning after this disaster. He gives his next address, spinning the blackout and the events of last night to try and turn more
Lied
support for
about
his
the police.
anti-vigilante task force and basically declaring martial law in the city. He enacts something called the Safer Streets Initiative, basically giving the Punisher cops even more authority to do whatever they want to do while they're trying to lock down New York City, and he basically turns it into his own police state. While he's also robbing the government blind, the city blind, remember, moving billions of dollars through Red Hook into his pocket. I love the way they also end on his creepy smile, saying that he loves New York. Like, this is so haunting. Like, this is scary looking.
I love New York.
Then we go back to Josie's bar with Daredevil in present day talking to Karen
As
Page.
a headquarters.
And the idea is he's sort of re-explaining his arc to her in why he stopped being Daredevil, why he became Daredevil again, why he is born again now. Basically walking her through his entire emotional journey this season. She opens the door and he puts his mask back on, going out to face everyone because not everybody yet knows that he's Daredevil, but they'll probably all eventually figure out that
I
he's
mean,
Daredevil.
at this point,
And
they
this is
might as
basically
well
the
know.
beginnings of Team Daredevil in Season 2, which includes now Detective Kim that we saw earlier this season a couple times. I'm just assuming that they're turning this character into like a bigger thing in Season 2. My assumption
gonna
is
be
that
the
she will
Gallo,
eventually replace
basically.
the Cherry character as like the cop on the inside who
that
helps
too.
him. There are also a couple of plainclothes cops who aren't dirty, who seems like they're going to be helping him too. They intercut this with Kingpin kind of doing the same thing, looking through his torture basement with Vanessa and all the people that he's got locked up
That
that
was
he's going to
crazy.
blackmail or just force to help him,
And they
including
wouldn't have dinner down
Swordmaster,
there too.
who I guess is also going to be back in Season 2. Most of these other people in the cages, though, are members of city council or just like powerful people that control things in the city that Kingpin needs or wants. Then ending on the shot of Punisher in his cell. They go to their other torture basement where she had just killed Adam to have dinner together in front of the rabbit in a snowstorm painting. Nice visual metaphor going on here too. Probably a little bit of Adam's blood on that painting now too. The whole idea being, though, it's come full circle for them. They're fully on the same page. Kingpin and Queenpin
They got what they wanted the whole
reigning
time,
over
bruh.
crime together. There's a quick
She didn't
montage
even
of a
know
bunch
it.
of the other characters that we'll see during Season 2, like Daniel Blake, Buck, Sheila, BB, all inside the mayor's office. I'm assuming that BB is going to try and help Matt from inside the belly of the beast during Season
Yep.
2. There's a quick montage of the city
She better
streets.
be
the Punisher
careful, bro. I
cops
feel
out on
like
horse. We see some of them
they're
even
gonna kill
watching
her
Angela,
eventually,
so I'm
too.
guessing she'll also be back in Season 2. And then when Matt says, we're going to take our city back, that's his big call to action for how Season 2 is going to go down with a more direct fight against Kingpin, with him actually putting a team together. Maybe a team of defenders. There's also a quick shot of Kirsten looking at Foggy's files on Red Hook, implying that she's going to come around on what Matt said and believes him now, and she will help try to deal with Kingpin
I didn't
and
even
what's
see
going
that part.
on the legal side of things.
She's
There's
gonna
a real
get cooked
quick
too
shot of
then.
Bullseye that seems like he's in his hideout, like I said, just waiting for Season 2 to come back. He will be back in Season 2. And we see Punisher one more time in those cages. So
And
they
he
frame the
escaped.
last shot of Daredevil inside the suit in Josie's, in the middle of all the newspaper clippings about Daredevil being back, like the Devil of Hell's Kitchen is back, and Kingpin's actions recently with him turning things into a police state heading into Season 2. Love the way that the red light starts flashing on him as the camera zooms in slowly. I think it's meant to be a police siren. That's where the red light is coming from. But anytime you see red light flashing on him in the Daredevil costume, you think Daredevil because red colors. Then
Ew.
over the end credits, they play a more energetic version of the Daredevil theme, and we get that Punisher post-credit scene. The dirty cop that he takes out that
He's so
allows him
dumb,
to
bruh.
escape is not from the comics. He's just a random Punisher cop. But the whole idea is this is meant to set up the Punisher special presentation
You
and
really
the events
trust
of
him?
Daredevil Season 2, which I think Punisher will also be back for, but they didn't say exactly when they're going to release the Punisher special presentation because we do have Avengers Doomsday next
Hopefully
year.
he's in
and that's gonna
Secret
functionally
Wars.
affect everything that happens
Or
inside the MCU.
Doomsday.
So I'm guessing that they might try to release Daredevil Born Again Season 2 in this Punisher special presentation before Avengers Doomsday, but we'll see if that winds up
Yeah.
happening.
To
They
have
can
them
still
in
wind
it,
up
fuck it.
releasing those later in the year and then just say that they take place before the events of
Mhm.
Doomsday. Generally, they don't want a lot of
Well,
the
they already
Doomsday
filmed
stuff
Season
to
2, I
mess
think.
with what's happening in Daredevil Born Again Season 2 or this Punisher series. That stuff isn't going to take place on Battle World or anything like that.
We got a plan.
Yeah, it involves bombs. You're cool with bombs, right?
But I cannot wait to see who Matt brings back to put on his team in Season 2. Like, just bring all those defenders back. All of them have talked in interviews about how they want to come back. Generally, it was a real solid finale. I just wish that the rest of the season could have been this strong. Last 2 episodes were great, so just really feel like they cleaned things up. Makes me way more hopeful for season 2 episodes. They're going to be
We're
filming
going
season 2 for a
somewhere
while, so
now.
I'll try to do more bonus videos about what's going on, or if we hear about characters that are coming back. And even though it's still kind of early, I think it's a pretty safe bet that they will wind up doing Daredevil Born Again Season 3, and they also even talked about
It needs to
bringing
be
back
a movie,
Elektra and
bro.
some other
And
stuff from the Netflix series
season
during Season
3.
3 that we probably won't have time for in Season 2. Generally just seems like they're slowly turning Marvel Disney Plus television into what the Marvel Netflix series used to be.
Bro,
Like,
we
just bring
need that
all
shit,
the
bro.
Netflix stuff back and do it on Disney Plus like it used to be. But because there was so much
Bro, that
stuff going on,
hardcore
everybody
shit,
just
though.
post all your favorite moments from the episode, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. Now you gotta do, Marvel, is just make all your shows as good as this episode
Right,
was, and we'll
bruh.
be doing okay. There are a couple real big
Then
things
you'll get
coming
no
up, like
complaint.
Thunderbolts is going to be happening real soon. We should get a new trailer for Fantastic Four, more Superman trailer footage, and Andor Season 2 episodes are going to start next
But
week.
that's gonna be it, boys. Thanks for watching. Bye.